Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Ease Experience. Today, I'm talking to someone who's been making music consistently for years while balancing real life, real bills, and real expectations. No viral moments, no overnight stories, just work. That's why
Or
this conversation matters. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. You know what we're doing.
no
Say
doubt.
poetry. What up, fam? What's
Peace,
good?
peace and love, man. Happy New Year to you, brother.
Likewise, man. I appreciate you, man.
No doubt.
Get this conversation going. I want to really, I want to speak to you because I have an affinity for up and coming producers and artists who take the craft serious, who really put in that pain. And
Yeah.
someone has never heard of you, right?
Yeah.
What would be some things or attributes you would share to this
First
listening
thing,
community?
first things first, man. I gotta let you know I'm from the 716, man. Niagara Falls, New York. That's in
Mhm.
upstate New York. We right over the bridge from Buffalo. So I rep that to the fullest, man. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Griselda. You know what I mean? The whole upstate, Syracuse, Rochester, all of that area. So much more parts of New York to get busy. So that's definitely where I'm from. Definitely representing that boom bap, you know what I'm saying? As you see the records in the back, you know what I'm saying? We chopping. We still living like the 90s out here, going to record stores, chopping things up, MPC head, you know what I'm saying? Machine head, overall just beat head, man, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah.
And just representing authentic hip hop, man. Culture, straight from the heart. No gimmicks, no sugar added, none of that. Just straight raw hip hop. That's what we
Okay.
got.
Now, when you state authentic hip hop, many people will have a definitive definition, but what does that mean to you? Like, what is that?
Authentic. You're not doing it for any reason other than you love it, you trying to add on, you know what I'm saying? There's no corporate entity telling you what to say and what to do. You know what I mean? You could be rebellious, you could be spiritual. Authentic hip hop is just the actual person. You know what I mean? That's
Mhm.
it's no different. Like this is what I wanted to wear this morning to this interview. You know what I'm saying? That'd be like if I put on like a top hat, you know what I mean, and made myself up to something I wasn't. I don't dress
Yeah,
like that in the morning. This is something I throw on. So that's authentic. It's being true to yourself.
no doubt. So I know that you rhyme, you write, you engineer, you produce, beat
Yeah.
make, you record dig. If what would be the first thing that you honed in on? Were you a rapper first, producer second, or vice versa? Or what was the first thing that introduced you to hip hop that you fell in love with, that you realized that you wanted to make a career out of?
I was an MC first, you know what I mean?
Uh,
Still an MC at heart. Still can't believe things I've done in my career
mm,
outside of MCing because I never planned to be anything else other than the MC. So that definitely came first. That led me down every path that I've got on. It's just MCing and you need beats, so you start messing with beats and you're doing all different things, but definitely MCing.
so you started making beats out of necessity, like because some
Absolutely.
MC. Okay, all right, yeah. So
Yeah.
how'd that work? Like, were you just searching for beats and no one was making the beats that you wanted, or they felt as though you weren't worthy of their production? Like, what made you say, I'm gonna make my own beats? Because
Word on some real stuff, man. This is the '90s, so there's no YouTube that exists. You know what I mean? There's asking a producer to give you free beats or send you beats. That wasn't even a concept at the time. You're gonna pay for beats, you know what I'm saying? And whatever that producer is charging, that's what you pay. You know what I mean? Not to mention, MPC was king back then. You know what I mean? It wasn't a gang of drum machines out, but the MPC was just a golden thing. If you had an MPC, that was crazy. And so it wasn't a lot of producers. You know what I mean? It wasn't, especially in Niagara Falls where I grew up, it was like a few people who made beats and
mhm,
had an MPC. So it wasn't like you could just go get some beats. It was like, yo, this
no
guy
doubt.
lives on the whole other side of town. You know what I mean? And so I started with the instrumentals and you know what I mean, just getting busy on the instrumental. I had a few DJ friends that would let me come through and make tapes, you know what I mean? But back in those days, it was about original. So I was getting props, but it was like, yo, when you gonna come up with your own original music, with your original beats,
Mhm.
you know what I mean? And I used to hang with these crew of dudes, they were like older than me, and they had an MPC. And I used to watch them make beats, and I was like mesmerized. I was like a shorty, like if it was Wu Tang, I was like Shaheem of the group. I was like a little guy, you know what I mean?
No
I would
doubt.
just
Yeah,
come
yeah, yeah.
through, and it was just this house they were in, and it was like a house of like anybody could come through and record and make beats, and so it was a lot of foot traffic. And I used to be that little shorty, like, yo, can I get my turn? You know what I mean? Can I get on the NPC? And you know what I mean? And I was just like the little guy, and sometimes they would let me get on, and I had to play my position. But bro, I can't lie to you. I remember the day I decided to make beats because one day it was like a summer day or whatever. This is probably like the summer of like 1999 or something like that. You know what I mean? And I'm a little guy, and by this time the house had finally like cleared out one day, and it was this dude. I think the MPC, I believe it actually belonged to him. It was an MPC 2000. So finally, this
Yeah.
crowded house was like no one was there, it was just me and him. And so he's sitting there at the MPC, and he's like in deep focus mode. And so I'm like the little dude, and I'm like, I'm trying to build up the nerve to ask him when he gets done, can you make me a beat? You know what I mean? This is my chance to get my
Mm.
first original beat. And so he's sitting there on the MPC, and it's, you know what I mean? He's zoned out, and I'm like, yo, when you get done, bro, you think you can make me my own original beat? And I can't make this up, Seth. I'm sitting there, and he looks up and goes, no, and keeps going. Yo,
Yo,
and
but
bro,
yo,
that was like a crushing moment. I'm like 16, you know
demoralizing.
what I'm
Yeah,
saying? I'm like, yo, and so then I don't know if you ever got dissed in your face before, but it's hard to kind of even get up and walk away because you don't want to
yeah,
see like you know what I
no
mean?
doubt.
And so
Yeah,
I took as long as I could, and I finally got up, like left out, and I just remember walking down the street like, yo, you know what? I'm gonna start making my own beats. You know what I'm saying? I'm
no
gonna go
doubt.
get me a job, and I'm gonna save up, and I'm gonna get my own beats, and that's what happened, man. So shout out
Yeah,
to that guy. His name was Basir. I
yeah.
never
Shout
forget
out
the
to
guys
him.
from Chicago. Shout out Basir, man.
Yeah, he gave you the hunger, right? And you mentioned like the early '90s or early 2000s
Yeah.
in that whole process, and a lot of individuals probably wouldn't know. Well, the younger generation wouldn't know. He stated he had to go get a job because them drum machines was running like
Oh yeah.
20,000, 2,500. It's not like you can get Fruity Loops or FL
Oh
Studio for
yeah,
free
man.
or $100. So you had to save up your money if nobody had
Oh
a drum
yeah.
machine that you knew. And once you got it, you had to figure out how to use the
Oh
drum
yeah.
machine. So you're way
Absolutely.
behind. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what was the first drum machine you copped?
The first drum machine I copped was an SP202. It was the Boss sampler.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I remember those. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
That was $300, and you know what I mean. I had a little mall job, you know what I mean, working at the mall. You
yeah.
dig? That was my first job too. But I got that, and then as far as like drum machine though, I wound up going to like this. I forgot what the name of this. It was in Grand Island, New York, or whatever. It was a music store. But I got the Boss DR5 drum machine.
Mm-hmm.
So if you
Yeah,
remember, the SP202 didn't have like a sequence or nothing like that. You could just
yeah,
trigger samples and put effects on it. So a lot of my first beats was just like loops. You know what I mean? I was
yeah.
just looping stuff. But you know what's crazy? Let me bring it back though, the essence, because you know what I mean. Yo, you my man. I don't miss your show and a lot of your predictions about things. I'm like my man's a prophet. But Nas pause tapes. Yo, my first beat was actually a pause tape beat.
Yeah.
And that was before I started making beats. I didn't realize what I was doing at the time because
Mm-hmm.
I think just being a 90s kid, you doing stuff. So I had a cassette tape and all of that. And I was 12 in 1995, and I looped up George Clinton's Parliament's what's the call Jesus Christ, um uh Atomic Dog.
Oh yeah, yeah,
I
yeah,
made
yeah,
a
yeah, yeah,
pause tape with the Atomic Dog loop because
yeah,
you know
yeah,
it's
yeah,
that
yeah.
long beat, you know, where they
Mm-hmm.
go in and they jam it. And so I had the karaoke machine with the dual cassette and all of that, and that was how I was getting busy at first. So I was even doing that. So I always wanted to date it back then because I mean that's making beats though. I
It
didn't know
is
kids
making
all over
beat.
the world was doing that. I thought I was just
Yeah.
some genius kid that did that, came up with that. But you know what I mean? But yeah, no, the SP202, the Boss, I'm sorry, yeah, the Boss DR5, and the Boss DR5 was dope. It had drum sounds and like keyboard sounds in it, so you can make full beats on the DR5. So that was the one machine where I was really getting busy, just trying to learn sequencing and all of that, and had the cassette player, so I would trigger my sample stuff live and record it onto the tape. You know what I
That's
mean?
fine.
Turntable, so it was kind of like a little makeshift studio I had like built,
No
no
doubt.
doubt.
That's fire, man. And I want to go back to what you were stating too about pause tapes and the drum machines that you had. Like the learning curve on a lot of these joints were not very easy. You know what I'm saying?
Nah,
Like
man.
it took some time to figure it out, and it helped in the
Yeah,
long run because when you got introduced to other drum machines, you start to understand signal flow and how things work. And
yeah.
yeah, but for the
Yo,
most part, how did that help with like your creativity? Like looking back in hindsight.
for one, man, you had to have patience and determination, man. Because, like you said, man, reading those manuals, I mean, a big, thick manual the size of like the Bible. You like, you know what I mean? You reading it, and yo, I'm like, yo, I'm pressing it, but I don't hear no sound. And what's going on? And you know what I'm saying? And man,
Mm-hmm.
I used to throw fits and kick all over my equipment over, and
No
I
doubt.
used to quit. Like, man, I ain't doing. You know what I mean? It was so crazy, and it wasn't like, let me just go look at this YouTube tutorial and see what's going on. And even back then, it's called gatekeeping now, and it's looked at as mean, but back then wasn't nobody telling you nothing, like, you know what I mean? It wasn't like I'm about to sit here and show you all my techniques so you can, you know what I mean? No, back in the 90s it was like, figure it out yourself, man. I'm not, you know what I mean, showing you nothing, bro.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
no doubt.
So
That's a fact. Yeah,
yeah, so it was like, it made you, it put a hunger, and it made you a beast, because you like, I gotta learn this, I gotta figure this out. I couldn't even focus in school, man. I'm like, I can't wait to get out of school so I can go back home and
yeah,
figure this out. And then something would start working, and you like, all right, cool. And even like signal flow. You know what I mean? Like learning signal flow. I didn't know what I was doing, bro. I actually like blew up a cereal one time. I didn't know what I was doing. You
crazy.
know
Oh
what I'm
yeah,
saying? But I think it taught you how to really go in there and find different things, man. And it just made you tough. I put it that way. It made you a
yeah,
tough producer. Not knowing, they say ignorance is bliss. You would stumble upon things like, oh, like anything from time stretching, and you would accidentally do stuff that you didn't even know that you was, later on you see in the manual, like, oh man, I was
yeah.
doing this and this, and I didn't even know that all you had to do was hit this menu and go there. So
No
yeah,
doubt.
man.
And you had like a lot of limitations too, because like it
Yeah,
wasn't unlimited sample time with a lot of these drum machines, unless you
yeah,
got it blown out with the Sandmaster guitar center and spent the extra breads that you can have like maybe over a minute of sampling time. So at
yeah.
that time, right, like producing, what was your definition of it? Like, did you understand the difference between beat making and being a producer at that time, or you was just trying to
Nah.
figure it out? Yeah.
I was just trying to figure it out, man. And thank God we were growing up in those times too, man, because I had been doing rap since '93, hip hop since '93. You know what I mean? And so by the time that whole era, like the early '90s all the way to like '98, '99, rappers wasn't really too flashy like that. Like Puffy was
Mm,
like the only
yeah.
real big flashy dude. You know what I mean? But it was like all the people I was idolizing was like Wu, Mobb Deep, Nas. You know what I mean? All these dudes. You know what I mean? And so they didn't look super rich at first. You know what I mean? So when it came to the production and all of that and what it meant, I was just trying to be good like them. That's all I wanted to do. I wanted to get, you know what I mean? Hip hop seemed like this big elite club that I wanted in on. And so it had nothing to do with, I didn't know about producing and all of that. I just know I got to get me a drum machine. I got to get my lyrics up, and I gotta come with it, because not only was the mainstream hip hop world going on, the underground was on another level. You know what I'm saying? The open mic scenes is crazy. The block
Yeah.
parties. I mean, even the
Hmm.
ciphers, the school ciphers, the block ciphers. It was like, yo, hip hop was on 1,000 talent wise. So that's all I knew. It's like, get good on this drum machine, and you know what I'm saying. That's all I was trying. So I didn't know.
Hmm.
After a while, I started to know, like, my love for Wu Tang was like, because that's who I idolized, was RZA. So
Yeah.
seeing the way he was putting, I was aware that he was putting the music together for the Wu Tang. So I started to begin to see, okay, this is what production is. Snoop and Dre. Even by this time, '98, like No Limit was coming, so you saw
No
Beats
doubt.
by the Pound and all that. So I started to see, like, oh, okay, this is what producing is. It's teams of people, and certain artists is doing their thing. Pete Rock stuff, Dilla stuff. People, I started
No
seeing like
doubt.
what's going on a little bit.
Yeah. So at that point, like, because let's fast forward a bit, maybe, I don't know, maybe 2 or 3 years into your process, what was your aha moment? Like, what was your core setup when you figured out, all right, I can actually do this?
Yo, I gotta go grab the machine
I'm
real quick.
here.
It's right here.
I'm here.
Because back then, um, like I said, it was the MPC. The
Mm-hmm.
MPC just ruled, man. It went from the 2000 to the XL and all of
Tell,
that.
yeah.
And I told you, I was doing it wrong a little bit. I was like, not even wrong, but I only got a drum machine here because that's all I could afford. Then I got the sampler right here. I got the turntable. I got the
Mm-hmm.
the tape deck that I'm you know what I mean, I'm mixing everything down to. And
Mm-hmm.
bro, back in the days I used to read the music catalogs, Musician's Friend, and just
Yeah. No
just
doubt.
cover to cover, circling different things and coming
Yeah.
back. And I would read it, and they would come to my crib like every month or whatever they would drop it. And bro, man, they had this in the Musician's Friend, the SP505, man.
Remember that? Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
That
man.
was a game
And what
changer for you? Yeah.
what
Yeah.
made this special is because it had a sequencer in here.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And it got the 4 tracks. Where's the tracks at? Right here. It got the 4 tracks. It had a chop feature. You
Mm-hmm.
know what I'm saying? So I could get busy and do everything on this. It had built-in effects. It told you what the beat per minute was.
Like a
Man, it had
workstation.
what you say?
It's like a workstation, pretty
Yeah,
much,
it was a
with all
full
the money.
workstation. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
that's it. What it say? Groove sampling workstation.
yeah,
So
yeah.
I just remember like reading the specs on this, like, yo, if I get this, it's over. This is
Yeah.
it. And this cost $500 at the time. I don't know what $500 was back in the the year 2000 or something like that. I don't know, but for a shorty, that was a lot of money, man.
It
That was a
was.
lot of money to get this. But yeah, this was the joint I got. And I mean, if we have a little time, bro, this will always mean something to me, man. Shout out to my brother D Win who broke this machine. It still fires up and you can hit it, but shout out to my brother. It's like I want to fight my brother and hurt him so bad. You know what I mean? I can't even hit him. You know what I'm saying?
Yours, right? Yeah, yeah.
This meant the world to me. This drum machine. You know what I mean? And that's why I
Mm.
said these young people today don't know, man. When you got some equipment that you had to work for, and I come from a crib, where I live with my pops. He got married to someone other than my mom's, and she had kids, and so it was a lot of us in the crib, and the money was scarce, and so I would
Mm.
be working at this job, bro, in a mall, fast food. You know what I'm saying? And I would save up and be like, yo, a couple more payments, and I'm gonna get this joint $500 every night. I'm going to bed. I was like Ralphie in a Christmas Story, you know what I'm saying? When he went at the rifle, I'm like, I'm
Yeah,
gonna get this right here.
yeah.
And every time I would get close to the money, my pops would need the money. Like, yo, son, I know you saving up for your drum machine, but yo, we got these bills we gotta get. You know what I mean? So I would have to start all over again, and I'm like, yo,
Wow.
so it happened like 4 or 5 times where I'm like, every week I'm putting aside the money. You know how hard it is to be a young school kid
Yeah,
and
no
you're
doubt.
trying to, save money. Like, bro, I'm not going to the dances. I'm not wearing Air Jordans. All I want is this drum machine right
All
here.
sacrifices.
You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? So, and you know what I'm saying? I'm working in this sweaty fast food shop. The manager and the owner, they date each other, so they arguing every day, man. I'm dealing with all this
Yeah.
noise in my head. You know what I mean? 9/11 jumped off, everything's going
Mm.
crazy. And every time then it got to a point where I'm like, yo, 450 saved up. All I gotta do is get the other 50 and I'm gonna get that 500.
Mm.
Pops, yo, son, yo, the car broke down. We need this, son. I'm like,
Yeah.
so it got to the point, fam. You know what I mean? To cut this story short, man, that I was just like defeated. Like, man, I'm never
Mm.
gonna get this. I'm never gonna
Got
get
it.
this drum machine, man. And I was hurt, and I just wanted it. And there used to be this girl that went to school with me. She had
Mm.
the biggest crush on me, yo. Like this girl told me in the ninth grade, like, yo, I'm marrying Sam, yo. Like this is gonna be
Yeah.
my
Yeah.
husband. And she liked me so much that she befriended one of my brothers. And she would always know stuff. Like she'd come to school and had like the Nas album. I'm like, how'd you know I like Nas? I didn't know how she knew so much about me.
Yeah. Yeah.
She was
Yeah.
asking my brother, like, yo, so my birthday was coming up around that time. And yo, man, I just never forgot. My pops came in the crib and he had a box. And I'm like, yo, Stat. He like, yo, happy birthday, yo. Somebody gave you a birthday gift. Shorty had bought the drum machine, fam.
That's fire.
She
That's
bought
salute
the
to her.
drum and she knew that, like, yo, my brother
Yeah.
was like, if you want to really like my brother, like, yeah, I
Mm.
mean, if you want to get him what he really wants for his birthday, yo, he want this drum machine. I don't know how
Mm.
Shorty got the money or what she did, but she went out, got me this, man. So I had this ever since. So it's still working, still simple, but a lot of the pads are dead thanks to my brother, man. Thanks a lot, bro. Thanks a
Yeah.
lot.
But even with that story, right? Like with the equipment, because it builds character, right? Because
Yeah,
most people I know that started making beats back then,
yeah,
they have all their original equipment, even if they never plug it up because it means something to them, right?
yeah.
So long term, like speaking about the individual who bought you the drum machine, overall, what role does a support system play in being a producer or a beat maker on the come up? Because it looks grim, right? Most people say, "Yo, this is just a hobby, man. You ain't gonna ever get put on."
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
the support system around you, what role did that play for you to keep pushing forward in the
Oh man,
dream
it
of
was
present day?
everything, man. Because like you said, it isn't, even back then, it was like, yo, you want to be a rapper? Yo, you want to be a, you know what I mean? You want to make beats? the dream hadn't been realized yet. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
It wasn't, hip hop was still kind of fighting, even though it had, by this time, you know, Cash Money taking over for the 9-9, all the 2000s, and now you
Yeah.
start to see the bling bling. You know, it wasn't, you know, especially growing up in Niagara Falls, like, you know, Griselda hadn't happened yet. Nobody from that region had made it except Rick James. I think Brian McKnight is from over there. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
So my people's like, how are you gonna do that? Like that is never, you know what I mean? So, but having family, I come from a musical family, so
Okay.
that was definitely a big help, and it was important because you had that. It wasn't you know, it wasn't no such thing as viral. It wasn't no
No.
such thing as any of that. It was like only way you're gonna really make it is you got to get a record deal. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it took the encouragement, but I had a lot of support system, a lot of support around me. A lot of the, you know, the ladies definitely love. I was a little ladies man when I was
No
you know
doubt.
what I mean, and so they helped me. They was like, yo, if it was that, if it was like telling people about me and passing my flyers out and showing up to my gigs and stuff like that. Um, a lot of MCs gave me props and was pushing me, especially a lot of the older G's, like even the drug dealers was like, yo, little shorty, yo, do your thing. And you know, what I love about my support system, they made sure I was keeping it real. That the
Okay.
'90s was all about keeping it real. Nowadays, you could just front and be somebody you not, but you know, I would get up to the minute feedback on, bro, keep it real, man. Don't rap about that. You know what I'm saying? That ain't your lifestyle.
Mhm.
Rap about who you really are. So they kept me grounded as to who I really was, and be yourself and rep the hood, rep who you want to be, but don't be somebody you not. So that
Mhm.
support system molded me to be just be authentic and be straight up. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Word.
and I'm guessing that still plays a role now, right? Because we're gonna jump around a bit, right?
Yeah,
Because you've gone through maybe what almost 3 decades of what hip
yeah,
hop is, right? Like from the '90s
yeah,
up into the present moment. So you've seen the evolution, or
yeah,
you know, some people may say it's devolved, but from the beat tape era to I don't know, trying to get placements
yeah,
to putting out instrumental tapes on streaming services
yeah,
to teaching courses.
yeah.
So, what role does like pivoting or being able to pivot play in your production process or your career? Because you've
Man,
never stuck to the same thing. Yeah.
yeah, it plays a major role, man, too. And I'm not gonna lie, I got to a point, like you said, brother. You know, coming from the '90s, I mean, I've seen hip hop change a gang
Yeah.
of times. I've seen not only just the corporate, because we always talk about the corporate world, but I saw the world change. You know what I mean? You got to think we entering the
Mm.
cell phone era. I just had some young kids cracking up recently because I was like, bro, you know, like we had no cell phones. We was just outside. Life. I'm like, cell phones didn't come around till I was like in high school. Like, you know what I mean? And even then, it
Mm.
was like limited features and yo, you know what I mean? Not free before 9 o'clock. You got minutes and so
Anytime minutes. Yeah.
yeah, and especially after 9/11, I saw the world like change in real time, and so then I seen it really change. And then when the South came in, bro, I was like, all right, I got lost. I can't front. I started seeing a change to where I was like, yo, I don't even know how I fit in anymore. And I wasn't like an older guy, but I was definitely still on the New York lyrical MCing and everybody keeping it real. And now you're starting to see people who don't keep it real. You finding out people was, you know, no this, but people was corrections officers and they was this and that. And I'm like, oh, you could be somebody you not, and everybody,
Yeah.
you know, I came from the mixtape era where the mixtapes only were made by DJs, you know what I mean? But now you're seeing people making their own mixtapes and flooding the market. I'm just like, yo, what is going on right now?
Hmm.
And people with like limited mic skills were surpassing people who had mic skills. And even myself, I'm coming in with my lyrical, you know what I'm saying? And people like, yeah, I hear you, but I don't, you know what I mean? Like you ain't really turned up. And I'm like, yo, what? I was like, it was like the
Yeah.
Twilight Zone for me. I didn't know. I was just like, yo, am I dope? I didn't even know. So, and one of my aha moments was I was just complaining like, man, it's too many rappers, yo. It's too many people that make beats, and that's all they man. And so then it got to a point where I was just like, yo, it's too many rappers. It's too many, and I shifted my focus. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Because again, I began to make money at this. And so when the money came into play, I was just like, yo, what am I gonna do? And so when I'm complaining in the middle of my complaining, I'm like, wait, if it's too many rappers and it's too many producers and all of this, hmm, okay. Why don't I start focusing on them as opposed to, you know what I mean, the audience and all of that. And I began to make a living at it now because there was so many people that rap and make
Wow.
beats.
Yeah.
that it gave me something to really, to really do, and it gave me ideas on what to do. Oh, people want to make beats. Let me offer, and not just do it as a money grab, but all businesses, it solves the problem. So
Come
I
on,
mean, you were
man.
talking
That's,
about, this is the
yeah.
full circle moment. I'm remembering the '90s and how hard it was, and wishing I had a mentor, and wishing somebody would teach me. And so this is when I'm like, okay, why don't I start offering classes to producers and teaching them, and putting that weight, getting that weight off of them, so they don't have to go through what I went through. So it was a pat, and I loved, bro, and I found a calling in it. Like, yo,
No doubt.
I love teaching, you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
love seeing a look on their face when they like, oh, I got it. I know what I'm doing. And I remember being that young kid, like wishing I had that. So
No
that's what
doubt.
pivoting and it's just learning. Even with the producers, I stumbled upon that because I would post beats and I'm getting props. But the number one thing I kept getting was, yo, where you get them drums from?
Come
Where
on,
you get
man.
that sound from? And I'm like, yo, I make them. And people are looking, I'm like, bro, that's all we did in the '90s. It wasn't no sample packs. It was like, and you wouldn't dare tell a person where you got your sounds from. So I couldn't believe, like, wait, you want to buy my drums? Like, you,
No
but if I
doubt.
sell you my drums, you're gonna sound like me. And cats are like, yeah, I want to sound like you. And I'm like, wait,
Yeah.
what? So I used to like push cats away, like, nah, I'm not. Why would I do that? And so it was so many requests that I'm like, I
Yeah.
guess I'm gonna start going into sound design. And so and before you know it, I'm making money doing that. I couldn't
Yeah.
even fathom that. So
That's fine.
it's been a blessing, man, to be just immersed in the hip hop culture and had to do so many things yourself that it gave you skills that now you can utilize and actually make a living from. It's a beautiful thing.
That's fine. If you listen to what he's saying, every skill that he's learned over time, and you can apply this to anything in life, he's
Yeah,
applied them. Like it was
right.
never a wasted time or wasted
Nah,
opportunity. Whatever he's learned in the '90s, he's still applying now. And that's one of the reasons that
absolutely.
I reached out to you because I never seen you since the moment I met you, going maybe a decade ago. You never lost your hunger. Not gonna say it
Nah,
wasn't easy or hard at some times, but you never
right.
lost your hunger. I've seen you talk about driving 7 hours from Ohio to DC to link up with Gadget and them to do
Yeah, yep,
freestyles or ciphers and go back home on the same weekend.
yeah,
Because, like he stated before, where he resides, it wasn't necessarily a hotbed for hip
nah,
hop in a sense. Not to say they're whack. No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm talking about opportunity.
right.
And he went out and got it. So I will ask you this question, man, because that's reverse engineered in a sense. You mentioned sound design.
Hmm.
Without giving away your secrets, anything like that, for someone who would want to get into that, what does that look like? Like the genesis, the beginning, and the end process. Or
Yeah,
what exactly is it?
and I don't mind giving up my secrets either, bro. You know what I'm saying? I mean, like I said, the '90s, I appreciate it because it taught you to find your own. Get your
Yeah, yeah.
own. Don't wear my outfit. Go find your own outfit. You know what I'm saying? Don't, you can't, even back, people want to tell you, yo, that's a nice outfit. Where'd you get that? I'm not telling you where I got that.
No
So you can
doubt.
go out and buy what I got. So, you know what I mean? I get it. I respect it. Even to this day, I still catch like, yes, yo, what sample did you use? Nah, bro, I can't tell you that. I can't tell you that. I cannot
No
tell you
doubt.
that. Go
Yeah,
find that. So that's one '90s rule I still keep to myself. I'm not telling you where I got my samples. If you're right
no doubt.
near me, then you may see me what I'm doing, or I may show you I'm digging. But once I'm getting busy and chopping up, I'm not doing. I don't want you to find my. I want to have samples and things that you don't have. I want to have my own lane and my own thing, and it's out there. It's some of the stuff you're not gonna find. Some of these records are so rare, it's not even on the internet. You can't
You're
find
right.
that. So,
Probably like
but
20
back
of
to
them
your
pressed
question.
up. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, no doubt. So I
yeah.
mean, but I don't mind sharing my secrets. So
Let's go.
when it comes to sound design is definitely it's like fashion to me. You know what I mean? It's like, yo, it's like going into thrift stores and finding outfits and things and piecing things together that may not be a typical, store bought put together outfit. It's finding the things that make you feel like, yeah, this is what I want to wear and this is nice. Oh, these boots is from the '80s, but I'm gonna flip it and bring it back to the 2000s. So it's basically just going and finding source material that you can manipulate. And I just go for a feeling. It's something that, it could be a snare drum that starts off the song. It's pow, and then the song come on. But that snare is like, wow. So it's something that gives you a feeling. It's something like I said, like fashion. You put an outfit on, you look at yourself in the mirror, and you like, yo, this actually match. This look dope. This is
Mhm.
ill. So yeah, sound design is just finding things that can spark creativity, and there's no, I don't have any, I couldn't, I would have to show you, you know what I mean? Because I may EQ some sounds, but then there's certain sounds that I found on records and people like, yo, I got this snare I use in a lot of my beats. And Cat's like, yo, what reverb preset did you put on that? And I'm like, bro, that was on the record. It was just how they, how I sampled, how it was on the record already. You know what I'm saying? So it's just finding unique sounds that sound cool to you and that you like, and it's like, all right, let me incorporate that. So,
That's fire.
it, yeah, no doubt.
Yeah. So another part would be to that is when you're doing sound design. I know you mentioned that you use vinyl. Do you also like bring in session musicians? And secondly, do you have any like formal training with engineering, audio engineering, or is it all from YouTube videos or trial and error?
I wish it was YouTube video. You gotta think,
You know that.
this the '90s, man. So you know what I'm saying. So this is the karaoke machine era. This is the 4-track era. You know what I'm saying.
Hmm.
This is the 8-track era. You know what it was, man. You know what I'm saying. Yo, my man up the street got a 4-track recorder. What? Yo, let's go over there right now. That's how we was forming relationships. I don't even know this kid. I just heard he had a 4-track. Knocking on
Hmm.
his door. Yo, fam, I'm Rhyme. Yo, I heard you got a 4-track, man. Yo, come in. I was like, all right, yo,
No doubt.
we friends that day. You know what I'm saying. So you recording, you learning, you just trial and error. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm trying. I just want to do it. Man, why don't my sound like my guys sound over here? Man, let me. There's no tutorials. There's no mentorship. So and it's a lovely time because you're just discovering and you're using your ear. There's no waveform display. It's like I just, you know what I
Right.
mean? I got to learn. It's no punching in. It's like I got to learn how to say
Hmm.
this in one go.
Hmm.
So you learning things that you don't realize. It's cat setting up in the bathroom getting natural reverb. You know what I'm saying?
No
You
doubt.
just you trying things. You know what I mean? And before you know it, you learning EQ and you learning balancing and all of that. So that's where the engineering came from. Sound designing and all of that. Like I said, you just stumbling upon things. You accidentally sampling stuff. Like, oh wow, I didn't know that you could do that. That's crazy. Learning MIDI. So and also
Whew.
no formal training. You know what I'm saying? I wish I would have. That's one regret I have. I wish that I would have learned it. But we young ghetto kids. We don't know any better. We just
Mm.
trying things. So um what else? And then I did dabble with some schooling for engineering. I did, you know what I mean? I couldn't sit still long enough because I knew so much already. I'm like, yo, get to the
Yeah,
good
yeah,
part, man. I could, you know what I mean? So,
yeah.
shout out to school. I'm actually back in school now, like finishing up that degree because I'm like I started it and got real far, so they
That's
just
fire.
finished it.
Salute to you. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's funny how it is. I've been an engineer professionally 7 years, you know what I mean? But typically it's like you go through the schooling, then you intern, and then no, I dropped out and then wound up actually getting it. And now I'm going back to school and I've been doing a
Yeah.
career. So it's a lot, man.
Yeah.
But yeah, and also YouTube. To this day, I now YouTube,
YouTube
bro.
University, man.
Yo, and,
Real rip.
and again, these cats, even like I got a daughter, she's 15, and she's like, I'm bored. I'm like, man, YouTube still blows my mind. When it first came, I'm like, yo, wait a minute, I can go in here and type in anything and it pops up.
Hmm.
Man, that's bro. I live on YouTube nowadays, bro. Just learning things and applying it and trying things. So yeah, man, it's a lot, man, as far as learning and
Yeah.
growing and experiencing different things. Yeah,
Yeah, son. So multiple streams in the sense, right? We noticed we spoke about Zoom meetings, which we'll get into a little bit more.
yeah,
You also spoke about sample packs or sound design.
yes, sir.
But what about licensing production, right? Because I noticed on sampoetry.com, that's where we're getting all this stuff from. He has a website where he does the Zooms, or
Yeah,
you can cop beats or buy the sound packs. You
yeah,
have different tiers, right? Tell
yeah,
me the
yeah.
importance of doing that as a
It
producer.
was
And how does it
it
work?
when it comes to the production, again, it's another thing where I'm like, I never plan to sell a beat, man. I'm thinking I only
Mm,
made beats for myself. So the first time I cast, like, yo, how much you charge for a beat? I'm like, yo, I don't know. Like,
yeah,
can I get back to you? I didn't even, you know what I mean? That wasn't even a concept in my mind. It was only for me to make beats. I didn't, but I would always get the question of, yo, who making your beats? Where'd you get those beats? I'm like, I made them. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm not thinking nobody's even paying attention to that. But no, so explaining the beat production and selling it on the website, it's an opportunity for everybody of all walks of life to experience the beats. You know what I mean? Some cats may be like, bro, I only got 50. You know what I mean?
come
Bro, I
on.
only got 100 right here, yo. I want the exclusive rights here. This guy doing a little better in life. So I made it to where and it's an old model too. It was something
It
that
is.
everybody was doing at the time. I didn't know anything, so I'm just looking at DJ Payne One and all these different guys and what are they doing? Because I didn't even know how to charge for beats. I didn't know what I was doing. I'm like, it's some people right now with some saying poetry beats they got back in the day, maybe $25. I didn't know my worth. I didn't know what to do. You know what I'm saying?
Y'all remember that
So
every game?
yeah, so and I tell people if you don't know something, just look at your field and find out what everybody else is doing and
Yeah,
make your prices accordingly. You want to be competitive. So I noticed that some of the top beat guys, now I was never gonna do the beat selling where it's like, yo, 25 beats for $25. Like I wasn't doing that. Like that ain't
yeah.
happening. Or you get the full exclusive rights to my beat for $100. Like, nah, bro. Once I started seeing that I can really pay a bill with this money. And
Mm-hmm.
so that's when it was like, all right, so the licensing allows me to make 2,500, 1,000 people may license the same beat, which again, that's from my era, that was a no go. Like, if that's his beat, I don't want to rap. I want my own original beat. We're in different times now, and hip hop is like flipped upside down from what I knew, and so all the
Yeah.
rules are the opposite now. So I had to
Yeah.
get comfortable with that. Now I am because I'm like, hey, to each his own nowadays. Everybody wants to be a part of this and do their thing. So yeah, if you go on the website, you can get some rights that allow you to put things out there, and it has limited rights. But the more mileage you want out of the track, then the prices change and the paperwork is all baked in, and it's a beautiful experience to if you want to, especially like I said, some cats really don't have the means. They got the talent, but it's like, bro, can I, yeah, go on the website and you can license the track. You know what I mean?
Right.
No
Yeah.
doubt.
Expound upon that because you stated like people didn't want to use the same beats back in the day, but we're in
Yeah,
such a different world where somebody may rap over the beat, but you may have someone copy it just to put it as background music for a video. So you just
yeah,
never know, so many different opportunities. So speak to me
absolutely.
about the importance of paperwork because we always talk about non-exclusive or exclusive rights. And I'm asking you this because I did a video about how, as producers, there was a point in time where we boxed ourselves in
Yeah,
because you were selling beats $100 here and there through email. You don't know the person, you don't know
yeah,
what's going to happen with the project, and what if that particular song turns out to be something?
right.
Now you've boxed yourself out or boxed yourself in from the onset. So tell me about the paperwork and why that's important as a businessman, not just a beatmaker
Yeah.
or a producer.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, for one, as again, man, most of us are just young inner city kids, man. We don't know, you know what I mean? We don't know. I didn't know any better. I was the type just selling a beat, giving it to somebody. I didn't know how that worked. To this day, I always be like, dang, what if, I become even more successful? Think about right now, if you have had a Kanye beat, you bought it before he was famous. You know what I mean? It's an official Kanye. You know how much that beat could be worth right now? You don't know. And that person owned that track, and this, you know what I mean. I'm pretty sure he wouldn't care now, but you know what I mean. I went through all the things too. I just didn't know any better. The more success I got from it, the more money I started making, the more people of higher, and they're not even in rap, people that do podcasts and all. I'm like, whoa, yo, how does this work? People wanting me to do beats for their movie and all of that. I'm like, oh, yo, I better really. I was always interested in business though. Donald S.
Mm.
Passman has a book called All You Need to Know About the Music Business. So that's
Oh
what got me
man.
into learning about the music business, but it was from an artist standpoint. I didn't want to get taken advantage of as a rapper, but I didn't realize he had stuff for producers in there as well. But it's only when I became more of a producer, then I'm like, okay, cool. Let me go back and research that book and see how points work. But it was still for like record labels and stuff like that because I still was playing at one point, start playing the placement game and all of that. So I just didn't want to get taken advantage of, and so I knew I had to get some type of book to learn about that. The producer Digger has a nice it's called The Beat Game, and that book was really dope. And I just got more into my craft. I had to go into starting an LLC. You know what I mean? And you got taxes involved, and you know what I mean, because you're making a good amount of money now. All of that just came through just the process of growing as a producer. But it's very important because especially with this the way YouTube working, it's people that now y'all two can have the same beat that y'all licensed, and somebody may make a claim or something, and then that beat gets
Content
pulled off
ID,
of
yeah.
the content ID stuff. You know what I mean? So I didn't know about all of that, so I had to
Yeah.
learn what is how does this licensing stuff work? Because a lot of the artists that I'm selling to, I have to educate a lot of artists as they buying it. Because some of them will get the idea that I'm buying it, so it's my beat, right? No, sir, this is the licensing, and this is how many sales you can get, and I have to take them through the process of that. So I'm glad I'm able to explain that to them, like, you know what I mean? Because they like, well, what if I make a hit? Is that like, yo, bro, you would have to come back to me because I still own the rights to the music and different things like that. So paperwork is
Wow.
it just clears all
Yeah.
misconfusion, and if there's any type of legal things, because we hear about the beautiful side, but when you see the situation with the Robin Thicke with the blurred lines and all of that, and sometimes there's writers involved and be like, yo, I contributed this snare to the track, you know what I'm saying, and now you guys are in court. If we got some type of paperwork, it's some type of proof that, yo, this, we did have a meeting and a discussion and there's a signature on here and this person was aware that these were my terms. Yo, not, you know what I mean? If in a case of anything, you
Yeah.
know?
And the most beautiful thing you said about that whole thing was the fact that you explained to them. So they're purchasing the beat, but they're
Yeah,
also getting education for
absolutely.
subsequent transactions with other producers or you. So you can't really beat that for the price point when you go on the website. Salute to you
Yeah.
for that, man. So what would you
Um,
say of all three of those
yo,
uh,
appreciate it,
pro-
man.
provided the most stability in a sense? Was it sound design? Is it selling tracks, or is it having those one-on-one meetings with an individual or a group? Because the meetings are not just about music per se. You're helping people make decisions about
Oh
which
yeah.
equipment to choose, everything,
Yeah,
right? Like,
everything
yeah,
you, everything I wish I wanted to know, from what
yeah,
computer should you buy. I've saved people thousands of dollars because a lot of people nowadays are so excited that they want to run out and spend $10,000, especially during the pandemic. Man, bro, Guitar Center wasn't stock. They was running through Guitar Center, like, you know
no
what I mean.
doubt.
So I was on the phone like, bro, put that back. You know, you never made a beat. Why would you go out and buy a $3,000 drum machine, bro? That, nah, you don't need all of that.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, no, with my, and what, to answer your question, bro, it fluctuates. You know what I mean? So I can't say that I make more money as a producer and everything that entails, from selling beats to selling sample packs, um, to the lessons, the engineering. All of that makes more money per se than me being an artist. I still am an artist. I got a new album coming out. I'm working on right now. That's still my first love. If I had to pick one thing, it's the artistry. But I think in today's time, it's just so oversaturated. It's still, I'm not
Yeah,
using that as an excuse. I'm still doing my thing. But your day to day, it's more, to me, it's more rappers than it is like fans of rappers. So it's bringing in more money because so many people wanting to be rappers and wanting to be producers and wanting to get into engineering and all of that, to where I'm like, I kind of focus on that. And so
mm-hmm.
that brings the most money in, and that all fluctuates. So some months I make more money. I may hit one lick. You know what I mean? I'm talking in old school terms back in the days. You know, when you on the block, it's like I may hit one lick. You know what I'm saying? And yo, I never was a dealer, because we keep it real. I never shot nothing of that. But that's
Respect.
what the drug dealers would say. Yo, we about to go hit a lick real quick. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And that means you came up on a nice piece of money. And so someday I may do something and bring in 5 grand. Like, damn, off one lick. Like, damn, that's ill. And
Mm.
then, next month I made all my money from classes. You know what I mean? So
That's
that's
right.
more like the production umbrellas where I get the most of my money from. You know what I'm saying? It's more
That's
successful
right.
right now. Yeah.
I, that's absolutely, man. That's encouraging, man. I'm happy
Yeah.
to hear that, man. So
Okay.
talk to me about because people forget about this term, right? How important it is, because music isn't just about notes or passing chords or reverbs or gates or limiters. What role does time management play in your ability to make music? Because you said you have to work, right? You have a 15-year-old daughter. So what is a day in the life of a producer slash songwriter or sound designer? What does your day look like from the beginning, maybe to the evening? How's that look?
Man, no 2 days are alike, man. No
Come
two
on.
days are alike. And I wish it was, but that's just not how my life, the cards I was dealt, you know what I mean?
Mm.
So, my daughter does not live with me. So, I got the visitations and we do all that. So, it frees up a lot of time. I'm not married, so I don't have that, thing going on. So, a lot of producers, I'll shout out to y'all who they probably can tell you better, because they're juggling that. We have to probably have this conversation years from now when I do got the wife and this, that, and the third. And how do you juggle that? Because back in the day when I was doing that, dating and going on, and that was challenging. And most times my music won. So it's like, man, I
Mm.
couldn't, I really, on the Dilla song, Music for Life, when he said a lot of times I can't get into relationships because music, that really spoke to me, because it was hard. It's really
Yeah.
hard to juggle that type of life. So for me, being a single man, I'm able to do anything I want to do and kind of move the way I want to move. But you still have to manage time well. Also, being when you do so many things, if I didn't rap no more, if I didn't do that, it would really give me a lot of freedom. But you know, sometimes I'm so into the production that I'm like, man, I'll go months or even a year, like, damn, I ain't even made, you know what I mean? So, and that bothers me. So I'm like, I really try to, you know, manage my time well, keeping a schedule, which I don't keep to, but like I said, the way my cards is dealt, you know what I mean? It kind of how I live a rock star life because the studio I work at is the biggest studio in Cleveland. It's a very popular studio, so it's open 24 hours. So I may
Uh-huh.
be in the studio 1, 2 o'clock in the morning, and then I'm sleeping in the daytime, and then I'm back up at night. This guy want a session from here and there, you know what I mean? And you know, and then in the meantime, this guy, you know, coming to do the session. I heard you make beats. Yo, I got this project. Now I'm doing that. So no 2 days of mine are like, bro. Seriously. So I suffer sometimes, man. You know what I mean? Even now, just you know, I'm in my 40s, so making time to exercise and getting proper rest and eat healthy, I have to really stay on that, man. And so you know, making time to do things just to enjoy myself as a human being too. I had to learn that because my mental health was taking a toll too, brother. Where I was just like, yo, I've had to step away from music a few of the times where I'm like, yo, I'm doing this. This is my whole world, and yo, mentally I'm suffering. I'm not happy. I'm not, you know, when I'm not doing any music or if the money's not coming in because we always want to talk about the wins, but brother, there's times where I don't know where my next dollar is coming from. You know what I'm saying? And you know, I'm having to live off the money I made the past 3 months, and you know what I mean. And so my mental health took a toll, and I've had to, you know, so yeah, I am figuring it out as I go, but you know, it's just a matter of my days fluctuate and things change, but I make sure I make time for my mental health. I make sure I make time to try to exercise, get some sleep, you know what I'm saying? And do something that's enjoyable to myself. So record digging is a love for me. I'll go digging and I
Come
ain't
on,
even trying
man.
to make a beat. I just like to collect records and it helped me not think about any of my problems, things like that, traveling. So, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Time management is I'm still learning it, but
Well, we
you know
all
what I
are, man.
mean?
It's life.
Trial and error.
It's a life skill, man. I love that you mentioned that transparency because
Yeah.
you can lose yourself in the very things that you love, your
Yeah.
identity in a sense. Like every day you're doing the same thing, or you don't
Yep.
feel gratified, or if things
Yep.
don't move as fast as you wanted to, you get upset. So I'm glad that you
Yeah.
stated that because a lot of producers or any walk of life or sector,
Yeah.
people forget that it's not going to be linear. You're going to have your ebbs and flows, man. You just got to
Yeah.
stick to it. And what I like most about you regarding your career, one of the great things is that you find time to do the things that you love
Yeah.
while also incorporating work. What I'm talking
Yeah.
about is he has a video like the last month or so. He visited the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame,
Yeah.
went there, had a good time, got some records, came back home or went
Yeah.
to the studio, made some beats.
Yeah.
That's time management. You were
Yeah.
able to go do something that you enjoy and still make time for the music. Speak about that, man, and the creativity behind it because the editing was
Yeah.
fire on that video.
Appreciate it, man. Thank you, man. That means a lot coming from you, man.
That's fire.
And that's you know it's beautiful you said that because you know part of it, like I said, I'm not you know when I don't know, man. I am hip hop. I am music. You know what I mean?
Come on,
Before,
man.
if this all goes away, if the internet crashes, if they outlaw and ban hip hop, I would still be in a room making beats. I love making music. I love listening to music. I like talking about music. I am music. I come from a musical family. You know what I mean? I go to concerts. I'm a fan of music. You know what I mean? So, fortunately, you know, that's how another way I'm able to balance because I'm not it ain't like I put on a hip hop suit and be like, okay, I'm gonna do hip hop today. You know what I'm saying? Everything I do is hip hop. Everywhere I go, when I go to
Yeah,
the
yeah.
mall and buy clothes, it's like, yo, this is hip hop. This is how I'm representing myself and this is what I feel comfortable in. And yeah, even when the styles of fashion changed, I was like, yo, this is what I want. I'm not wearing throwback jerseys. That's what everybody on, or the skinny jeans came out. I'm not wearing that. I want to wear what I want to wear. And
No
people
doubt.
look at you funny, but it's like, no, this is what I feel like wearing. So I am able to balance things, you know what I mean? Even my friends, the people I start to gravitate to, you go into these open mic nights and you hanging out. Now you got musical friends, and it's like, yo, you want to go see a movie? Yeah, let's go do that, and let's go over here and do that. So, you know, it helps me manage time because I'm already living it. I eat, sleep, and breathe hip hop, man. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Mm.
um, I may read the Bible, you know what I'm saying? And then I'm reading that, but then after that, I'm like, yo, how can I incorporate this into my rhymes? You know what I'm saying? And so it's just how my life, everything just works together and it just kind of goes. And so I'm never really outside of this hip hop world I've been in since I was a kid. You know what I'm saying?
Mm. No
Yeah, no
doubt.
doubt.
So this question will be a two-part question, right? Because it's part of the present and the future. Tell
Yeah.
me, as a creative, right, the importance of getting the necessary credit, and what role does mentorship play in regards to that? Like, who did you learn from regarding getting the necessary credit? Or are you still figuring that out? Because how do people know, or how can you build a resume without credit? So, what role does that play?
Man, yeah, it's two part. Yeah. You know what's crazy, man? It doesn't seem like people care anymore. You know what I
Oh,
mean? It doesn't seem like no one cares about that. Whereas when I was a kid growing up, man, that's how I learned who RZA was, who Timbaland was, who Eric Sermon was. You reading these credits and you keep seeing this, yo, who is this Buck Wild dude I keep seeing on everybody's, who are the Beat Nuts and the Alchemist, this new dude named the Alchemist keep popping up in the credits. Whereas you would think with it being digital world, that you would go on streaming services and you click on the album cover and it would open up to a booklet and you would think that that would be there, and it's not. It's like, yo, it's crazy when I found out, like, yo, I didn't know Babyface wrote that, or I didn't
no
know that
doubt.
Jermaine
Yeah.
Dupri did Pressure by Ari Lennox. I didn't even know that. Like, you know what I mean? Well, he says his tag on it. I'm just making an example, but I'm
Mm.
just saying that, you know, people don't seem to really care. It's just like, I'm gonna just stream. So I used to really be on it a lot. It's still important to me because I've had bigger producers proposition you with, like, yo, you know what I'm saying? Let me grab that beat and, you know what I mean? I'm gonna say I did it. And I'm
Ah,
like, bro, nah, yo, I don't want to do that, man.
yeah,
Like, you know what I'm saying? Jack, I know at one point Ghost Production was like a big thing, and sometimes a producer can walk you in the door, you know what I mean? But I just think that's not cool, bro. You know, why would you
nah,
even want to take credit for something you didn't do? You know, I never
yeah,
understood that with the Ghost producing. I mean, that's from the standpoint of nobody would take, but then put a word in for me then. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? Don't pass it off as yours, because that would be their excuses. Like, more people be willing to buy a Timberland beat than a Sam Poetry beat. Nobody knows who you are. So I
no
kind
doubt.
of get that in a minute, kind of putting you under that umbrella, but then at least put co-produced by me or something. Put me in the
Yeah,
mix. Don't just take my track and have me out there like that. So it's important to me for my own personal. I
yeah,
want to see my name on the credit. I worked hard to get where I am in
yeah.
life. So obviously you're this big known act. Obviously you saw my talent. So, yo, I want to be rewarded for that, and I want to see my name in lights and whatever is out there for me. If there's an award out there for me, I want my name on that. I did that. You know
I
what I
agree.
mean?
I
Um,
agree with that.
but it doesn't. It's not the end all be all to me, because I just don't. Overall, when you look at the state of the world, I don't think anybody care. You ask a young kid, they don't care who Metro Boomin. I mean, not. Let me take that back. They're not looking for credits to see that he did what and what. Metro Boomin's he's doing his thing. He's one of the best out there. So no shots on my man. But I'm just saying that a kid, a 15-year-old, when I was 15, based on how I was checking credits. I started
No
to
doubt.
look for producers, whereas I don't think a 15-year-old kid right now is like the average one is out here checking and finding out, who produced that. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And what was the second part? I'm sorry, I go
Yeah, I was
off on.
asking about mentorship, but I want to jump, well, expound upon what you just said too about the
Yeah,
children not, or kids not understanding or caring. But what role does credit play in potential opportunities?
it's
Because, like
it's
you
it's
stated,
it's
we
it still matters.
yeah,
It
it does,
still
right? Yeah,
matters. And it's led to so many different things. Um, you know, even as an artist, it matters. The credit and things and building a resume, because I've been able to get one gig after another gig. Relationships. One of my biggest bag came from something that had nothing to even do with producing for an artist. It was for a major podcast. I'm just like, yo, I never even thought like that, but that came from, yo, this person knew that I did that, and I came highly recommended from that person. And
come on, man.
I've done some big shows where it's like, oh, you produced that. You did a show here, and this is a place where they typically don't even allow rappers at. But yo, he don't
Hmm.
curse in his music. He don't have any explicit lyrics or anything. And then some talent guy is in the audience and it's like, hey, I caught your act. Would you do that here? And I'm gonna have you performing with this symphony. And I'm on stage now with an orchestra.
Fire.
And I'm like, yo, how did I get here? So yeah,
Yeah,
having a resume and doing things have led to beautiful experiences, man. And going out to little mixers and people like, hey, aren't you the guy that made this? And I'm like, yeah, that's me. And it's like, oh,
mm,
I would love for you to come on my show and do this. And I'm like, wow, okay.
yeah,
So yeah, credit and having a resume and even mentorship. Back then, it's something I wish I had earlier. I don't really have a mentor, but I do it for others now because it's like it's so
Yeah.
important having somebody that's been there who can walk you through the process and help you avoid the pitfalls. And I would say my mentors right now are people like EA Ski. You know what I mean? Shout out to my brother EA Ski. You know what I mean? He's a mentor to me, and as much success as he's had, and he could be the most arrogant guy if he wanted to be. And this, I could call my guy up today, and I don't even have to talk to him about music. You know, we talk about life and religion, and you know what I'm saying. And this guy got platinum records, and you know he just did the "They Know" single for Ice Cube, and his first
Hmm.
number one in years. And you know, and to this day, my brother calls and checks on me, or I'll check on him. And it's a beautiful. So I would say someone like him is like a mentor to me. You know what I mean?
Humility, man. I love that, man. And I
Yeah,
love how you mentioned how we used to read credits. And
yeah,
one thing I love about today, even though I still buy physical copies because I like
yeah,
to see the
absolutely.
credits, but there is no excuse for not giving someone credit because you're not running out of paper or ink on a book yet,
Right,
right? Like
exactly.
you can give someone credit for digitally for beatboxing, arranging,
Right.
scratches, sampler,
Yeah.
making the beat. That's why I always ask individuals who are coming up, even when you're uploading your stuff to DistroKid or whatever
Yeah.
DSP you use, make sure that you list everything that you've done, whether
Yep.
you mixed it, you
Yep.
record engineer, you the beat maker, the producer,
Yeah. Right.
put your name in every single thing because you never know. Someone may say, "Oh, I don't particularly like the verses, but yo, I love the way he did the scratches. Let me see what
Words.
that is
Yep.
and hit them up." Yeah. So
Word.
let me know how do you upload your music? Like which particular company do you use to upload your music to DSPs?
I typically go through DistroKids.
Hmm.
I'm currently checking out United Masters. I did a record with Raheem Devon. Shout out to my man Raheem.
Okay.
It's a record he wrote for a young lady named Granique, and they, you know, they had a situation with United Masters, and so just to speak to your point, us me getting the right credit and all of that. Um, you know, I had to set up an account with them, but it had me looking around and like, let me see what they about. And they seem pretty dope. So I'm taking a look at them right now. But most of all, brother, you know what I'm saying, with the streaming and all that, bro, it's all good. I have a love-hate relationship with it. So nowadays, man, it's sampoetry.com, man. It's
Talk your talk,
sampoetry.com.
man. Yeah,
Straight up.
yeah.
That's where all you don't even see, it's like one album of mine on streaming and a couple singles. But other than that, if you want to get the real, go to sampoetry.com because it's stuff that's not on no streaming services. All my beat tapes, there's people that didn't even know, oh, you got beat tapes? Oh yeah, go to the website. That's all that, all my music videos, everything that I've done is on there. It's in one hub. And that's, you know, we all know that these places can cut down at any time. They could shut down.
Anytime.
And you know, you out here with nothing, you know what I mean? So I have my own address online. You know what I mean? This is where I live over here and this is my thing. And I do plan to release more stuff on streaming, but to me, when people go to your website, these are diehard people. This is not a casual listener. This is a person that's like, I rock with Sam Poetry, and I'm gonna go on his site and watch his videos, and they regularly coming and seeing what I got up there. You know what I mean? So, streaming DistroKid. To answer your question, it's like it's all right, it's cool,
Yeah.
but and it's the way the world works. So, you know, I stream music, and so you can't be such a rebel that you don't have nothing up there that people just can easily go and access the music. But I like to promote
No
my
doubt.
address where I'm at. You know what I'm saying?
I love that, man. If you notice, he has options. He's not totally disregarding DSPs because that's what's what everyone is industry standard, for lack of a
Yeah,
better term. But have your own address on your
yeah,
website as well, so you can own your IP. You
yeah.
know what I'm saying?
And Bandcamp too. Shout out to Bandcamp. I got a few
Bandcamp,
things up on Bandcamp. I like them.
yeah.
Yeah,
Bandcamp is yeah, they be looking out on Black Fridays too,
they
man, when they
do.
give
We
all the
shout
money.
out to
Yeah, that's
Bandcamp.
fire to them, man. Yeah. I'm glad you
Word,
said that too. Thank you for reminding me of Bandcamp.
no
Salute to
doubt.
them, man. So if you could, right, let's I want to get back into the beat making process, right?
Yes, sir.
Name me your top five drum machines that you've
Ooh,
used, and it can be software too, because I noticed I noticed that you used Machine in the past, but we ain't really speak about that
absolutely.
today. So tell me your top five drum machines and why. I really
Okay,
want to know this.
okay. Just of all timer that I've used, like
Well, whatever. Yeah.
yeah,
For you.
just okay, top
Yeah, for
five.
you.
Okay, I'm gonna go with the my first MPC of all, you know what I mean? The MPC 2000, yo, that was just it was king back in the
Not
90s, you know
XL,
what I
just
mean?
the regular 2000.
Just the 2000, the
The
regular
2000.
one, you know what
Okay.
I mean?
All
That
right.
was my first MP, was the 2000 classic.
Your classic. Yeah.
Yeah, I just remember what that meant back in the days. I remember like looking at that just to this day, the MPC 2000. Um I got to throw out there top 5. I'm going to throw out Damn, there's so many good joints. I'm gonna throw out. I used to have an NV 8800 from Roland.
Man.
The
Listen, I
NV.
will say, yo, that the workflow on that joint, I never understood it, but that's what's
I
up.
figured it
Because
out.
RZA
I
was
just had
using
to.
that, right?
Yeah, I had to wrap my brain around how it
Yeah,
worked and how to relate it to the MP. But if you figured it out, it was like,
yeah,
bro, that is one piece. We need to do a segment on equipment that you regret selling. Like,
yeah.
yo,
Yeah, no
I
doubt.
regret that, man, because they had it had a CD burner and
Yeah, it was
player in
before
there.
its
You could
time
burn,
for sure.
you know what I mean? It had
Yes.
a mastering suite in there. You could master beats. It had a mixer in there. It was
MB
blown out as far as like
880.
the RAM. You could upgrade the RAM and you could record vocals to it and do full songs in the MV. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And the chopping was crazy. The arrangement, that was a dope. I regret
No
that one. That
doubt. I
was
remember that, yeah.
yeah, that was real dope. It had instrument sounds built in,
Yeah.
and man, you could make a full track, like a full production, and lay it on. It
Mm,
had the phono inputs on the
mm.
back. You could expand the 8 outputs. That was
And this is
ill.
early
So
2000s, y'all. Like,
early
and
two
he's speaking
thousands,
about
yeah, the
all of that.
NV
Yeah.
8800, yeah, that
Shout
was
out to the
that was
RZA,
ill.
man.
So we
Yeah.
had two. We said the MPC 2000 classic and all the SP 1200 heads and the 3000 and the 60. I never owned those, bro. I
Mm,
wish I can have one of those to this day. So I'm gonna throw some of them up in there because you know what I mean. So I'm
no
definitely
doubt.
gonna put I want an MPC 62. I'm gonna put that as three. You know what I mean? The MPC 62. It's the first. Roger Lynn joined. It got the signature
Mm,
on it. I've seen a few of them in real life, and I'm like,
yeah.
I just when I get the money I want, I don't care if it's 7 grand, man. I'm gonna
Uh,
get me a 2000. I'm sorry, an MPC
yeah.
60.
For those who
Um,
don't know, those are joints that Primo was using early on and Jermaine Dupri was using as well.
which I wish Primo, please go back to the 60. Please do the S950 and the 60. I know, baby, the sound. We need that back, baby. Shout out to Primo though. Shout out to
No
Primo.
doubt. Salute
Yeah,
to
but
him.
no, so the 60. I just always
Okay.
wanted that. Back to stuff I've used. I gotta go with Native Instrument Machine. That was my entry into computer-based music because I just could not even fathom
No doubt.
using FL and any of that. And it was laughed at one point to make computer beats. Shout out to the people now. Look at it now. I never thought it would turn into this. It's like, yo,
Mm-hmm.
but for me, I got on Machine because that reminded me. I was able to, okay, this is like an MP kind of. You know what I mean? It kind of with the 16 pads, and I wasn't clicking in my notes, bro. I'm like, I'm not doing that. Shout out to the people who do that, but I couldn't get with computer making stuff because I'm like, I have to physically hit the drum machine. So
No doubt.
Machine is what opened my world up into, okay, I'm working on a computer, but I got a controller and I'm physically turning the knobs and hitting the drum machines and I can physically touch it. So I still rock with Machine to this day. So that's number four. And then from there, I got to go with my SP 505, man,
Talk
because
your
my,
talk,
my
man.
production definitely stepped up when I got that. I knew
Mhm.
what I was going to do when I got this. I'm like, when I
Mm.
get this joint, it's curtains for the game. And my beats looking back was still pretty whack, but you know what I mean? I got nice though. I got real. This is when I first was like, all right, I could be somebody with this right here. So I got to go with the SP 505, and I may buy another. I'm always keep this one, but I may buy another one just to be that 16-year-old kid, 17, 18. Go back to that essence with this, man. Yeah,
Mm. No
top
doubt.
five.
That's fire. Another question regarding production, right? I
Yes,
always
sir.
think about things like this. If you were on a remote island, right, and
Yeah.
you had to choose a discography, production discography from one producer, who is it?
Ooh, man, I'm gonna go with it's easy. I mean, it's easy, but I can just weed out a lot of people quickly. I'm
No
gonna
doubt.
go with ah. Like you get the whole discography, like everything they've done.
Just their discography. That's all you can listen to. The stuff that they produced.
Damn, it's a tie between RZA and DJ for me. And
Mm.
I'm probably gonna go with Primo. Primo's done more work. He had a longer run than RZA. You know what I'm saying? But
Mhm.
that was a tough decision. But did you see how quickly I did me the discography?
It's
Say what you want about, you know what I mean? That man's discography
ridiculous, yeah,
it's
and he has the
unmatched, man.
running time in a sense. Like you could listen to his discography and not play the same song twice for
Right,
a while. You know
exactly.
what I'm saying?
Yeah, I
They're
got a
not top
playlist of
heavy.
Primo, and it's over like 400 songs. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it was somebody's
Hmm.
playlist I found online, but I'm like, man, it's stuff that I didn't even to this day I didn't, you know what I mean? Just listening to that playlist, like, oh, I definitely know it's Primo, but man, I didn't even know he did that record. You know
No
what I'm
doubt,
saying? No
no
streaming
doubt.
was around back then, so you know, you only had limited stuff you could buy or
Cream
you
got some
use. So
joints, man.
yeah, it's
For
stuff I'm
real,
still
man.
discovering that he did. I'm like, oh man, or stuff that I sampled. I didn't know Primo did it first and killed me on the sample. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? So
He
yeah,
got joints. And
DJ
he know
Premier,
this.
hands down. Primo,
That three
yeah,
vocal, no
definitely.
doubt. That's fire, man.
Yes, sir.
Who are your top three uh audio or mixing engineers?
Top
Doesn't
three.
matter which genre. Over the course
Yeah.
of time, listening to music, whose mixes have always jumped out to you? Top three.
Yeah, as it relates to hip hop or not anything, let's go with
Any
engineer.
genre, doesn't matter.
I'm gonna go off the top first. Is Young Guru, man. Young Guru is this. He's an incredible. He's the ill producer too. You know what I
Yeah, he can
mean?
visit. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
and I believe
He got
I
some.
believe, man, the way he mixes, he could have been in any time period and did a good job, man.
Yeah,
He's a ill, um,
he's a
ill.
student. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. So I'm going with him. Um, oh my God, there's so many good ones too, man. Damn, bro, that's it. I got to go with with one of the guys, and I hate to go with all the popular people because it's so many engineers that I've sat around that they don't get the recognition. You know what I mean? But I'm just trying to name people that people would know. I got to go with my man. I don't know if I'm saying his name right. Bruce
Yeah.
Sweden, who
MJ.
engineered
Yeah.
Thriller and countless
Yeah.
other stuff. People know him just for Thriller, but he's done some
All
incredible
over the place.
records.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But yeah, that he come from
The
that
Quincy Jones
analog.
camp. Yeah, man.
Yeah, this is when it's like, no, we ain't on nothing digital. We all analog, and we doing, they doing miking up things, and I just love that. I just watch videos and biographies and all that stuff on them, man. Just like how they would record and like, it's amazing. Um, man, you got to give me top five, but I'm gonna go with
No,
three.
no,
I
that
go
top
with
three, 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 three. You want top five?
uh,
Yeah, five. Yeah, do you think
I'm gonna
five?
go with Chris Lord Alge. He's ill, you know what I'm saying? He does a
He
lot of
is
rock stuff.
rock stuff.
Chris
Yeah.
Lord Alge is the king of it. I learned a lot watching his videos and just
Mm.
talking to him. Shout out to my man too. What's his name? Dave Pensado.
Pensado's place. Yes, sir. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, Dave Pensado. I learned a lot about mixing and engineering just watching. He was one of the first people I ever like on YouTube started watching, and like, wow, I can't believe he's sharing these secrets.
Giving
And
away
I mean, I
tricks,
could,
right? Crazy.
yeah, I couldn't believe that. So, I mean, I don't know what his health is. I heard he was, not doing well health wise. So
Mm.
prayers up for
Yeah.
Dave Pensado. Hopefully, he's doing a lot better. And then after that, I probably my last one I would go with is mm, Jesus. Let's get a female up in there, man. Her name is Marcella Eraser. She goes by Miss Lago.
Miss Lago. Okay. All
Yeah,
right.
yo,
I
shout
gotta
out
do
to
some
her. I'm
research
sorry,
on her.
love.
Yeah, yeah.
I didn't know your name, man. But yeah, I've been following her again back when I was reading the credits back in
Write
you know what I
that
mean the
down.
2000s. All of that Timberland stuff. Yeah, her name is Marcella Marcella, and then I don't know if I said the name right. Aracia, Araica, but she goes by uh Miss Lago.
Lago. Got you.
Yeah, yeah. Go look
All
her
right.
up on she got interviews and she done been on Mix with the Masters and bro, she's the real deal, man. I see somebody I would love to meet and just talk to and pick her brain. But yeah, yeah, definitely.
That's what
Mixed
up,
by
man.
Ali, this guy, he's ill, he do all Kendrick stuff, he's dope.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He
man.
got the whole mixed engineers thing, right? Engineers or something like that. He got a
Yeah,
whole
yeah,
campaign
yeah,
with that.
yeah.
Yeah. It's
Shout
a
out to
bunch of
the to
joints.
one of the ill engineers too. He's just an honorable mention. Dr. Dre, man.
The Dre's ear is ridiculous, man.
Yeah, Dr. Dre is
Yeah.
crazy with it, man. To this day, I listen to 2001 or even the Chronic, man. Those are like the best engineered.
Yeah.
It's just so clear and loud and
Yeah.
bro,
The
it's
SSL punch,
incredible.
man. Yeah. It
Yeah,
is, man.
Dre is a beast. Even though I heard when you in his studio, he listens to his music like real loud, like
Really?
bring you some
Yeah,
earplugs type thing. I'm like, all right. Everybody's ever been there is like, yo, Dre got these huge speakers. He listens to them like really loud. So I'm always planning about me, Dr. Dre, to have my earphones, my
yeah.
earplugs in.
Listen, man. Keep on this route, man. That day is definitely coming, man. Like,
No
I'm gonna
doubt.
ask you this question, man. Coming back full circle in the sense of the whole the process and the totality of your career up until this point.
Yeah.
If you could, right? What do you want people to understand after hearing your story? The story that's still in progress, because it's not over. You're still climbing and doing your thing. But what do you want people to understand after hearing your story today?
That music is a journey. Music is art. Music is a beautiful thing. Music is a very beautiful thing. Music is a gift from God. It's something that
Mm.
we use to express. Music is not stress. Music is not a record deal. Music is not millions of dollars. Music is not fame and popularity. Music is literally the rhythm of your heart, man. And I had to learn that the hard way. That your worth and your music's worth is not tied to any type of monetary success, commercial success. There's some of the greatest artists in the world who's never won Grammys. A lot of great artists that were not even discovered until after they passed away and somebody flipped their music to something new. A lot of great songwriters and producers were not credited, but it was them that actually did the work. You know what I mean? And so what I want them to understand about my story is that, don't, and I'm saying this from all the things I did wrong. I didn't know any better. You know what I mean? So understand about my story out of all of this, because I've bought equipment, sold equipment. I thought it was all about the equipment. I thought it was about having a record deal. I thought it was about fame and fortune. I thought it was about, I thought music was my God at one point. You know what I mean? I thought I worshiped music, not
Mm.
in a cultish type of way, but when you put all your money into it and all, you can't see the forest from the trees and all your happiness is tied to music. You know what I mean? You in bad shape when the music ain't going right and nobody's clapping for you and nobody's giving you anything and you're not getting any awards and now you're getting older and no one knows your name. And you know what I mean? I learned all of that by trial and error that, yo, it ain't about none of that, man. You know what I mean? Right now, I can get busy. As much equipment as I have, man, you know what I be online looking for right now? I'm looking for like little small gadgets now, little MIDI controllers, so I could just sit with some headphones in my laptop and make beats. You know what I mean? I go out the cabins and bring just one drum machine and just sit out there, learning to balance my life. Music is a part of my life. Music is not my life. You know what I mean? That's what I want them to understand about my story. It's a man who immersed himself in music only to find out that it was just a gift, man. It
Come
leads
on,
you
man.
to different things. I learned about teaching through that. You know what I mean? And I found I love that I didn't even know that I could love something outside of hip hop. It's teaching. You know what I mean? So it's understand about my story that it's a coming of age story. It's a story about sacrifice. It's a story about love, dedication to one's craft. It even helps me as a parent. My daughter had a bad basketball game yesterday, and she was crying and she was so upset, and she wanted to quit basketball. And I was able to use my experience for music to let her know if you love something, love the process. Understand that this is a part of it's gonna make you better. I gave up a million times with music. I kicked over my equipment. I would sell my equipment. I would cry and things that I literally shed real tears. You know what I mean? I went out for something and I didn't get it. You know what I'm saying? And or it was an opportunity I thought was going to happen and it didn't happen. You know what I mean? And I cried or I was upset and angry, but my passion kept me going. My passion for this, like I'm gonna do this. Or people who tried to play me out, manipulate me, I'm like, you know what? All right, you're gonna regret that. You know what I mean? All right, you're gonna watch me be successful. Watch, I'm gonna go this way with it. You know what I mean? And so even as a parent, I'm able to use those experiences and tell my daughter like how to persevere. Like, you know what I mean? If I can do it, or even look at me now, I'm not as big as Drake. I never got as big as Kendrick. It's funny. People are like, man, you kind of sound like Kendrick, and it's funny. I'm older than Kendrick, and you know what
Right.
I'm saying. And so if anything, Kendrick sound like me. Like the style he's doing, I was doing that. You can find tapes of me in the '90s rapping like that. You know what I mean? But I never got the commercial success of these guys. And I'm in my 40s, and I'm still, when people are like, they make jokes and memes about a 40-year-old rapper or a 40-year-old producer, and you know what I mean? And I'm like, bro, I'm gonna be 70 making music, bro. You know
No
what I'm
doubt.
saying? And if I still want to rhyme at 70, I'll still rhyme at 70. I'm not gonna try to be a 16-year-old at 70 or even at 40. I'm not doing things that a child would do as an MC. I grew up with my music, but um it's a story of perseverance. I don't care how old I get. I don't care who laughs or think I shouldn't be rapping at this age. That's your opinion, bro. I love music. So this is a story of perseverance and not giving up, man. That's what I want to know. Slam Poetry is not ever giving up with his music. And now it's not about getting a record contract and blowing up. I enjoy music. And sometimes I make money at it, sometimes I don't. But no matter what, I'm immersed in this culture. I love this culture, and that's what I want them to know about me. It's just music. It ain't the end of the world. It's just music, bro. It's a
No
beautiful
doubt,
thing.
man.
Word.
Listen, man, that's real life, real stories,
No doubt.
real work. That's Sam Poetry, man.
Yes,
I
sir.
appreciate you. What I want you to do now, man, I want you to give them all your contact information from your email, website, IG, X,
Yeah.
Threads,
No
everything, man.
doubt, no doubt,
How can
man.
they
Just
reach you?
big, you know what I mean. The main thing is there's so much social media, man. I'm on Instagram the most, so follow me at Sam Poetry. It's just how it is. Ain't no weird spelling or none of that. At Sam Poetry. If you want to hear my music, all type of content, anything, sampoetry.com. That'll lead you everywhere you need to go. Excuse me. If you want to contact me, sampoetrymusic at gmail. You know what I'm saying? Nice and easy. Sampoetrymusic at gmail. If you need Zoom classes, Zoom lessons, you know what I'm saying? You can either DM me, reach out, you know what I mean? Hit the email. The link is in my bio on my Instagram page. You can just click it and it'll point you to where you need to go to like get my booking schedule. If you're in the Cleveland area, come down to the Lava Room Recording Studio, or you can book me online at lavaroomrecording.com and you will look on the website and I'm right on there. You can book me directly. Maybe you just need mixing, you know what I'm saying? And you can book me through that, or you could personally DM me and I can, we can set something up too outside of that. And I can do mixing and you know what I mean? You need beats, all of that, man. It's all love, man. Word.
That's what's up, man. That's fine. Make sure y'all contact them, man. Make sure
Yeah.
you contact them. Sam Poetry, man. I appreciate you, fam. Thanks for coming
Yo,
on the
I
show, man.
appreciate you, man.
Talk.
And I still got a folder of your beats you sent me. You sent me some beats years and years ago. I
Yeah.
still got those beats. They were so cold. I didn't even know how to approach it. As I found myself listening to them more. But yo, bro, I definitely want to dive into those beats this year and see because they may you may hear them beats. I'm like, bro, when did I do that? I
Yeah, I
still
don't
got
even.
them.
Yeah, I gotta check my synth folder, man, and see when I sent it to you.
Yeah,
That's crazy. Like,
I
yeah, man.
still got those
It
beats. So
is.
y'all may hear a synth and Sam Poetry. Matter of fact, I'm putting that out in the atmosphere. We gonna do a record this year,
My guy.
man. No
My
doubt.
guy, man. I appreciate you, dog. This ain't the last
Thank
time
you.
you coming on this show, though, man.
No doubt, man.
Y'all
Word.
make sure y'all
Anytime
check
you
out
need
Sam
me, bro.
Poetry.
Anytime, yo. My man Sam Ease, man. My man's the prophet. He be telling you how these albums gonna come out. His predictions are almost pretty spot on, man. I want you to know that, brother. I watch you, man. As much as I can, I'll leave comments, but I don't miss it. I got the hit the bell notification, so I get
That's
notifications
love.
when you
Yeah.
put your content up there, brother. And I follow you, bro. I'm watching and I'm listening. And a lot of times I'm at the gym or I'm, you know what I'm saying, I'm cleaning up. I got your content playing in the background. And that's real talk, bro. Seriously.
My guy.
Salute to you, my brother.